Welcome to GoVM Lab, India's first job-ready VMware learning platform where professionals meet experts to revolutionize their VMware careers.
Hello everyone, welcome to GoVM Lab, VMware Cloud on AWS Deploy and Manage lecture series. In this particular lab exercise, we are going to walk you through a step-by-step procedure of configuring and validating layer 2 and layer 3 traffic. We'll see that when two VMs are connected to same segment, the layer 2 connectivity will be there. And when we have two different VMs connected to two different subnets, we'll see that how layer 3 traffic flows between these virtual machine in VMware Cloud on AWS environment. So that's the pretty much agenda of this particular lab exercise. So with that, let's get started. Now this is our VMware Cloud console. Let's log in here with our registered email address govmlab@gmail.com. Click on next. Now this is our VMC console. As you could see that this is the SDDC1 what we have deployed it in this particular VMware Cloud on AWS environment. Click on view details, click on networking and security, and then click on segments. So now as you could see that it's again almost a same similar interface what we have been observing in the NSX environment, right? And that's the exact reason why do we see that NSX is the backbone of VMware, all the product portfolio from the networking and security standpoint. So this is again the same NSX constructs what we are having it here, which you might have faced or would have learned during your NSX learning as well. So what we are going to do, click on add segment and we are going to create a new segment named as web tier. So I'm creating a new segment web tier, and most important thing, I'm connecting this segment to one of the gateway. And what is the gateway? I'm going to have it a routed gateway. So we have a different kind of gateway: routed gateway, extended gateway, and disconnected gateway. But in this particular example, we are going to have our routed gateway, and that is going to be our tier 1 gateway. And this tier 1 gateway is named as compute gateway. So in the VMC, the architecture is quite different. We have a management gateway, we have a compute gateway, but because here we are creating a segment to manage our workload VMs, that is the exact reason I'm going to map this particular web tier segment to a gateway called compute gateway. Now let's provide the CIDR value for this particular web tier segment. I'm going to provide value as 192.168.10.1/24. So that is the CIDR value for this particular web tier segment, which means that all the VMs which will be connected to this web tier segment will be having an IP address in the range of 192.168.10.x. Now set DHCP config, because we do not want to assign manual IP addresses to all of these virtual machines going to map to this web tier segment. I want them to have a DHCP assigned addresses. That is the exact reason I'm going to configure DHCP server as gateway at gateway. And this is the range of my DHCP addresses: 10.2 to 192.168.10.10. So this is the DHCP range what I have defined it at the gateway DHCP server level. Click on apply, scroll down, click on save. Now it's saying that do you want to continue configuring this web tier? No, our configurations are done. And as you could see that we have successfully created one of the segment named as web tier, which is connected to tier 1 gateway named as compute gateway with the range of 192.168.10.1. Now as you could see that currently there are no ports consumed of this particular segment because there are no virtual machines we have assigned to this particular segment. That we will be doing it later. Now let's go and create another segment, because we have discussed at the initial that we will be validating L2 traffic as well as L3 traffic. And for the validating L3 traffic, we need to have another segment in a different subnet. So I'm going to create another segment named as app tier. And again, I'm connecting this particular subnet or segment. I'm connecting this particular segment to another same gateway, routed gateway, and going to be my compute gateway. So now if you just see that the topology, what we have done it, we have created two different segment, web tier and app tier, and both of this segment we have connected to a one tier 1 gateway, which is a compute gateway, which we call CGW 192.168.20.1/24. So this is the subnet what I'm defining it for this app tier 20.x. Set DHCP config, we again gonna configure gateway DHCP server, and the range of the IP address is going to be 20.2 to 192.168.20.10. Click on apply, click on save, click on no, And now as you could see that we have successfully created another segment as app tier, which is connected to tier 1 gateway named as compute gateway, and the subnet range is 192.168.20.1. So now let's go back to our vCenter server. Let's access the vCenter server of our VMC SDDC, and let's map our web virtual machines to the web tier and app virtual machines to the app tier, and let's validate the L2 and L3 traffic. So click on open vCenter server, show credentials, copy this password. The username, as you could see, going to be cloudadmin@vmc.local, and the password. Open vCenter server, and now as you could see that we have successfully logged into our VMC SDDC, and this is the vCenter server of our VMC SDDC. Let's browse through our vCenter server. We do see that there is a data center created named as SDDC data center. Let's browse through that data center. We do see a cluster created named as cluster 1, and within that cluster we do see that we have a one ESXi host named as 172.16.32.4, which means it's a one node cluster. And then we have a two resource pool, compute resource pool for hosting my workload VMs, and the management resource pool for having all of those management virtual machines like NSX Manager vCenter server. Now in that compute resource pool, when I browse through compute resource pool, as you could see that we have a three virtual machines. Two virtual machines are WebVM1 and WebVM2. So we have deliberately created two virtual machines, WebVM1 and WebVM2. These two virtual machines, we are going to map it to a web tier segment, and then we will generate a ping traffic to validate the L2 connectivity, because both of the virtual machines are going to be connected to a same segment, and that is where we will validate the L2 connectivity. So let's go and do that. Click on WebVM1, right click on that VM, click on edit settings. So currently, as you could see, this virtual machine is mapped to SDDC CGW network 1, and we need to change the network configuration. So we'll go and map this virtual machine VNIC to web tier. So this is the web tier segment what we had created. Click on OK. Let's go to WebVM2, right click on that VM, go to edit settings and change a network to web tier. So now what we have done, we have connected both the VM, WebVM1 and WebVM2, to a same segment. Now let's go back to our VMC SDDC, and currently as you could see that the number of ports consumed are 0, but as when I refresh it, the port count changes from 0 to 2. And why 2? Because there are two virtual machine, WebVM1 and WebVM2, we have connected to our web tier segment. So now what we will do, we will go and generate a ping now. So let's log into the WebVM1 VM. Let's run the command ifconfig and make a note of this IP address 192.168.10.3. So if you remember correctly, this is the subnet what we have defined it for the web tier segment 192.168.10.1, and the range what we have defined it from 10.2 to 10.10, and that is where this particular VM has got the IP address 10.3. Now let's go back to WebVM2, click on web console, let's run ifconfig command and look at the IP address. This virtual machine is having IP address 10.2, which means both of the virtual machines are having IP address in a same subnet, and that is where we will go and validate the L2 traffic, L2 connectivity. So now when I run this command ping 192.168.10.3, what do you think? The traffic will go through or not? The answer should be yes. And the reason why? The reason why, because both of these virtual machines are connected to same web tier segment, and this web tier segment have, obviously this web tier segment having a subnet range 10.x, and both the VMs are having the same range. That's where the ping will happen. It's a basic layer 2 connectivity, right? That is what we have validated here. Now let's log into our app virtual machine. Now right click on that app virtual machine and map this app virtual machine to the app tier. Now if you recall, this app tier was part of different subnet 192.168.20.x subnet, right? And that is where now we are going to validate L3 connectivity. So let's log into our app VM, run the command and look at that. The IP address is 192.168.20.2, which means that my app tier is a different segment, web tier is a different segment, and now I want to generate a ping. So now from my app VM, I'm going to ping my web VM. And what do you think? The ping will work or not? The answer is yes. The reason why? The reason is that because my app tier and web tier segments both are connected to my one routed gateway, which is my compute gateway, which is nothing, which is my tier 1 gateway. And this tier 1 gateway is providing me L3 connectivity. And now as you could see that the number of port is 0, but as when I refresh it, the port count becomes a 1. And we know that this is the VM which gets connected to my application tier. So ultimately we have a 2 VMs connected to web tier, 1 VM is connected to app tier, and we have validated and demonstrated you L2 as well as L3 connectivity. So now this conclude our discussion upon how do you create a segment in VMware Cloud, and then how do you map your virtual machines to the respective segment. And we have also validated layer 2 connectivity as well as layer 3. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to continue watch this lecture, then join our exclusive YouTube membership program only at the price of 299 rupees INR per month and unlock your VMware potential with GoVM Lab. With this membership program, you can unlock all of our members only content published on our YouTube channel. You can watch out the videos presented on your screen to know the benefits of GoVM Lab subscription as well as the membership program. Thank you.